How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. The Bengals have quite the predicament at the a good predicament, by the way, have quite the predicament at the wide receiver position from a fantasy football standpoint. Arguably, the toughest trio to choose from a fantasy football standpoint as to which one of these guys is going to be the lead man. Which one of these guys is going to come out on top as the best fantasy option in Cincinnati, a place where you can expect some pretty big numbers out of these wide receivers, being that Joe Burrow's a quarterback and being that this team has proven they want to throw this football and throw this football a lot. I mean, if Zach Taylor hasn't made that apparent in the last couple seasons, then I don't know what to tell you, but that man was doing with Andy Dalton. The Bengals, who have I'm going to say, biased Bengals fan, I'm going to say three elite potential wide receivers and their own respective skill sets, that is here. So which one is the best one to choose from? And I don't think there is a right answer to this one. I think they all bring something different to the table, and we're going to talk about that. Again, a little outlandish with the comparisons, but I think the Peyton Manning with, what was it, Wes Welker, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, there was a year with that, right? It was, and I think it was, Decker was in there a year where you had a three-headed monster out there, out wide. I kind of think of situations like that where those guys, they're going to throw the football a lot, probably going to get a lot of touchdown opportunities, but which one really goes off week after week, it could fluctuate a little bit. But we're going to start with Tyler Boyd. He's no doubt the Wes Welker comparison here of this trio, because Tyler Boyd is the guy that lines up out of the slot, and he lines up out of the slot a very lot. And he led the Bengals team in receptions last season. I want to say it, I think Boyd leads this team in receptions once again this season. He holds the highest floor out of these three wide receivers, I think, from a fantasy football standpoint, as in a consistent set amount of points every single week. He might not be the guy that's going to break out and drop the 35, 40-point burger. That might be a Jamar Chase type thing or something. But he's going to be the guy that consistently gives you that 8, 10, 12, 14, maybe a touchdown in there, 20-point type of weeks, I think. And you look at a guy like Justin Jefferson. Jefferson lined up in the slot and was utilized heavily by Joe Burrow back when they played together in LSU. I think a lot of us, turn a blind eye to the fact, well, Jamar Chase was obviously younger, but Jamar Chase had 27 less receptions than Justin Jefferson did that season Joe Burrow was their quarterback. Again, favorable for Tyler Boyd because he likes to use that guy out of the slot. Boyd led this team in receptions last season, or targets last season, I should say, with 8.4 targets per game. Boyd may finish with the least amount of touchdowns out of these three. I'm going to throw it out there. Right now. He might have the fewest explosive plays. But again, if you're looking for that safe bet, floor kind of guy, maybe you want heavy running back, quarterback, tight end early, and you're just looking for that safe bet wide receiver that's going to give you a decent number every week, you ain't going to worry about laying an egg, Tyler Boyd could be your guy here. Then you have T. Higgins. If Jamar Chase wasn't taken in this draft, T. Higgins was, no questions about it, my breakout wide receiver candidate, the DK Metcalf of last season, if you would. That was, a guy getting a 5th, 6th round that just blew up, and it was, a second, 3rd round kind of guy this season. That's how I felt about T. Higgins. But Jamar Chase comes in, that's going to take away a lot of his deeper chances. It's going to take away some of his targets, period. That doesn't mean he's not a guy that's not going to get the football. That just means I thought T. Higgins was going to be a big cornerstone of this team, and he's going to see a lot of targets. There's going to be T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Higgins, Boyd. But now you throw a guy that's another elite caliber receiver like Jamar Chase in there, you're going to spread that football around a little bit more, period. No matter how good T. Higgins is. He still is the big man out of this bunch, though. 6'4", taller than the other guys. He, proved last season. Bengals kind of like lining him up. They'll open up some touchdown opportunities for this guy as well. C.J. Uzomah coming back at tight end. We'll see how much he gets utilized in that department as well. But again, I think a guy like T. Higgins, he still gets a lot of them 50-50 balls. He's still going to get a lot of touchdown opportunities because of that size. And mind you, I think all three of these receivers have 1,000-plus yard receiving yard season potentials here. And I think Higgins is a guy that hits that 1,000-yard mark this season. We got to remember as well, 17 games this season. I'm trying to think of last season, 1,000 yards, kind of putting that in there, adding the extra game this season. I do think he falls somewhere in the middle, though, of the Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase here, where he's gonna still see a decent amount of targets. I think 6+ per game's a pretty good number for this guy. And he's got again 10+ touchdown type of potential as T. Higgins. Nonetheless, then there is Jamar Chase, the ultimate wild card. A lot of times, rookies come into the league, it takes them some time to adjust. Even the elite receivers we've seen drop 800-900 receiving yard seasons to start their careers. But things are a little bit different with Jamar Chase. Now, he's still getting used to the NFL, but he comes in with that built-in chemistry with his quarterback already. which can do a lot for him. It can do a lot for Joe Burrow. We've seen a lot of, Joe Burrow likes to extend plays. And Jamarr Chase has that wherewithal. We've already seen him do it in LSU with Joe Burrow, and he extends them plays. He knows. Downfield, just go. Just straight down the field. I'm going to hit you. Create some big plays. We could see that a lot between Jamarr Chase and Joe Burrow this season. Jamarr Chase, who I think is, without a doubt, the number one big play guy for the Bengals this season. The Emmanuel Sanders of that comparison, or the Peyton Manning comparison earlier, if you want to play that game. But I do think, without a doubt, Jamarr Chase is that. He could be a boomer bust kind of guy. You play him against the favorable matchups, and when you're going out there playing the Baltimores of the world, you're probably going to want to bench him. Hopefully we ain't going to regret saying that down the road. Well, actually, hopefully we do, Bengals fan. But don't be surprised if that's the case there. This is a guy, though, that could put up that 30-point, 40-point game, maybe a couple times a year, those win-your-fantasy-week type of game or nights out of a player. The one thing I always say about, mind you, Jamarr Chase, there's a good chance he starts off slow. Remember, this guy didn't play an entire year of football. It's going to take a little bit to get that rust off. We already heard them talking about it in training camp and practice. Of course. Look how long it's been since he's played some live football, and he's still, remember how young he is here, coming into the league, growing and developing from that standpoint. He might even end up on waivers. That could be, was that a bold call? Jamarr Chase might end up on waivers, but I think people will regret dropping him. I think down the road, the further we get into the season, 3, 4, 5 games, he starts to really come into his own, and he starts to really put up some big numbers for this Bengals team. He's just one of those guys, maybe like a T.Y. Hilton comparison as well, where we see Hilton, he's done out the times in the past as well. He'll have those 3, 4-point games, but then he'll go out there and drop 25, 30 points on some big games with some big plays, some big touchdowns. I feel like that's the Jamarr Chase, the least consistent of the bunch potentially. But at the end of the day, he could really put up some nasty numbers to win you some weeks. That is our thoughts. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.